Welcome to our deep dive, into Ireland's IT landscape. Today, we're going to unpack the drivers and challenges of Ireland's IT landscape report for 2024. It's a collaboration between Digital Realty and Hewlett Packard Enterprise. And we're also going to be taking a look at the Irish Trends Report 2024, our mission, to give you a clear understanding of all of the major trends and challenges facing Ireland's IT sector.
Oh, yeah, it's an exciting time for Ireland's tech scene. Back in 2022, they launched this ambitious national digital strategy. It was called Harnessing Digital. And the goal was to make Ireland a global leader in digital innovation.
Okay, so Ireland wants to be like a tech powerhouse. That makes sense. But what's the reality on the ground? What are these reports actually saying?
Well, both reports are based on insights from about 150 tech and business professionals, mainly from companies that are headquartered in Ireland, spanning a variety of industries. What's fascinating is that this research is actually a follow-up to a similar study from 2022. So it gives us a unique kind of before and after perspective on the landscape.
I love that we get to see how things have evolved. So what's the biggest change since 2022?
The sheer volume of data that organizations are dealing with has absolutely exploded. Think like a 43% increase in data storage needs since 2022. That's a massive leap in just 2 years.
Wow, 43%. That's not just a leap, that's a whole different stratosphere. So what does this data explosion mean for businesses in Ireland?
It's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, all this data fuels innovation. It allows for advancements in artificial intelligence, data analytics, and more. But on the other hand, it creates a whole new set of challenges. Security, for one, becomes paramount.
Especially with cyber attacks becoming more and more sophisticated every day.
Exactly. And the report shows that companies are definitely aware of the risks. The number of respondents concerned about data location because of regulations more than doubled from 2022, jumping from 20% to 41%. But security isn't the only concern. Think about the costs associated with managing and storing all that data. It can be a huge burden.
And it's not just the storage, right? The report also mentions like a whopping 56% increase in the cost of moving data.
Absolutely. These costs have real implications for businesses, particularly startups and smaller companies that have limited budgets. This is something you need to keep in mind as you navigate the Irish IT landscape.
So we've got this data explosion, rising costs, and increasing security concerns. What else is keeping Irish tech leaders up at night?
The skills gap. This has been a persistent issue, and it's showing no signs of letting up. The report highlights that finding cybersecurity expertise remains the biggest challenge, with 54% of organizations struggling to fill those roles.
So even with all this growth, finding qualified people is still a major hurdle.
It is, and it's not just cybersecurity. The demand for networking expertise has also skyrocketed, particularly for companies that are headquartered outside of Ireland, with an incredible 78% increase in demand between 2022 and 2024.
Wow, those are some pretty stark numbers. What happens if Ireland can't bridge this skills gap? What are the potential consequences?
It could seriously hinder their ambitions to be a digital leader. They might struggle to attract foreign investment and miss out on opportunities to develop and implement cutting-edge technologies. It's a critical issue that they need to address.
So what are companies doing to try and cope with this shortage of skilled IT professionals?
Well, one interesting trend the report reveals is the increasing reliance on managed service providers, or MSPs, for IT support.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't tech wizards, can you explain what exactly an MSP does and why are Irish companies turning to them?
An MSP essentially acts as an outsourced IT department. They handle everything from cybersecurity and data management to cloud services and technical support. Irish companies are turning to them because they provide access to specialist skills that are difficult to find and expensive to hire in-house.
So it sounds like a practical solution in the face of this talent crunch, but it makes you wonder if this reliance on MSPs is a temporary fix or a sign of a longer-term shift in the IT landscape.
That's a great question. And it ties into another major theme that emerges from these reports, the rise of hybrid IT.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. What exactly is hybrid IT?
Hybrid IT is essentially a blend of on-premises systems and cloud-based solutions. So instead of keeping all your data in-house, you're strategically distributing it across different environments to optimize performance, security, and cost.
So it's about finding the right balance, the best of both worlds. And the research suggests that this is the direction that Ireland is moving in.
It is. But there's a catch. While adoption of hybrid IT is increasing, there's a noticeable lag, particularly among Irish headquartered companies. They seem to be holding on to on-premises solutions more tightly than their international counterparts.
That's interesting. Why do you think that is? Is there something specific about the Irish market that makes companies hesitant to fully embrace the cloud?
It's a complex issue, and the reports don't offer a definitive answer. But there are a few possible explanations. Some speculate it could be rooted in concerns about data sovereignty, wanting to keep sensitive information within Irish borders. Others suggest it might be a lack of awareness about the benefits of cloud computing, or perhaps a bit of inertia, a reluctance to change existing systems.
It sounds like there's a bit of a disconnect between the aspirations that were outlined in harnessing digital and the reality on the ground, this clinging to on-premises solutions. It's almost like they're trying to hold on to the past.
That's a really insightful observation, and it leads to some important questions. Is this reluctance to fully embrace the cloud going to hold Irish companies back? Will they be able to keep pace with global competitors who are rapidly adopting cloud technologies?
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think this is a cause for concern, or is there a possibility that Irish companies might be taking a more cautious strategic approach that could ultimately pay off in the long run?
Those are great questions, and to answer them, I think we need to delve a bit deeper into the potential consequences of this lag in hybrid IT adoption.
Let's do that. What are the potential downsides of this reluctance to move to the cloud?
Well, for starters, it could be contributing to those rising costs and latency issues we discussed earlier. Maintaining and securing on-premises infrastructure is expensive, and it can lead to bottlenecks that slow down data transfer and processing speeds.
So it's not just about the cost of storage, it's about the cost of inefficiency.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of scalability. Cloud-based solutions are inherently more flexible and scalable, allowing companies to quickly adapt to changing demands. Sticking with on-premises systems can limit growth potential.
So if a company experiences rapid growth, their existing infrastructure might not be able to keep up.
Precisely. And in today's fast-paced business environment, that lack of agility can be a major disadvantage.
It sounds like there are some compelling reasons to move towards hybrid IT. But the report mentions a potential bright spot: colocation. What exactly is colocation, and how does it fit into this picture?
Colocation is essentially a data center that's shared by multiple organizations. It offers a middle ground between maintaining full control over your data on premises and leveraging the flexibility of the cloud.
So it's like a compromise. You get the security and control of your own data center, but without the hassle and expense of building and maintaining it yourself.
Exactly. And the reports show that organizations in Ireland are starting to see the potential of colocation. In the next 2 years, 26% of organizations expect to be using colocation, with another 37% planning to use private cloud solutions, often located within colocation facilities.
That's a significant shift. Why do you think colocation is becoming so attractive?
Well, remember those MSPs we talked about earlier? Colocation facilities are often where they set up shop, drawn by the robust connectivity and infrastructure that these facilities provide.
So by moving to a colocation facility, companies can more easily access those specialized skills they need through MSPs.
Exactly. It's all about connectivity and creating a more agile and interconnected IT ecosystem. And colocation plays a crucial role in facilitating that.
It seems like colocation could be a key part of the solution for Irish companies grappling with the challenges we've discussed. The data explosion, the skills gap, the need for agility. But wait, there's a twist, right? Didn't Ireland recently implement a moratorium on data center construction? How does that impact the equation?
Ah, yes, the moratorium. It's definitely a complicating factor.
Can you remind us why this moratorium was put in place?
Driven by concerns over energy consumption and grid capacity, the moratorium aims to pause the development of new data centers until these concerns are addressed.
It sounds like a well-intentioned policy. But could it have unintended consequences for Ireland's IT ambitions?
It could, and that's where things get really interesting.
Let's dive into that. What are the potential downsides of this moratorium? Could it actually hinder Ireland's progress in the IT sector?
It's definitely a possibility. And to understand why, we need to take a closer look at the impact this moratorium could have on everything from innovation and investment to the adoption of cutting-edge technologies. But before we do that, why don't we come back after a quick break and we'll pick up right where we left off.
Sounds good to me. We'll be back in a moment to unpack the implications of this moratorium and explore what it means for the future of Ireland's IT landscape.
So, before the break, we were talking about Ireland's moratorium on data center construction and how it could potentially impact the country's digital goals.
It's a bit of a curveball, isn't it? This push for digital innovation,
Yeah.
and then bam, this moratorium that could throw a wrench in the works.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex situation. On the surface, it seems like a responsible approach to address concerns about energy consumption and sustainability. However, it could have ripple effects that maybe weren't fully anticipated.
Like what? What are some of the potential downsides of this moratorium that people might not immediately think of?
Well, think about those cutting-edge technologies that require massive amounts of computing power. Things like artificial intelligence and machine learning. These advancements rely heavily on data centers, and the moratorium. It could limit Ireland's ability to compete in these rapidly evolving fields.
So instead of being a leader in AI development, Ireland might end up lagging behind because they don't have the data center infrastructure to support it.
Precisely. And it's not just about innovation. The moratorium could also make Ireland a less attractive location for foreign direct investment. Companies that rely heavily on data centers, they might choose to invest in countries where they can build the infrastructure they need without restrictions.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about the economics of the situation too.
Exactly. And then there's the question of cloud computing. Remember we talked about how some Irish companies have been slow to embrace the cloud? Well, the moratorium could exacerbate that issue. If they can't build new data centers, they might be even more reluctant to move their operations to the cloud.
So instead of pushing companies towards hybrid IT solutions, the moratorium could actually be pushing them in the opposite direction, back towards on-premises systems.
That's a valid concern, and it's something that policymakers need to consider carefully. Is the moratorium sending the right signals to the tech industry? Is it creating an environment that fosters innovation or one that stifles it?
It's a tough balancing act, isn't it? Trying to promote sustainability while also fostering growth and innovation in the tech sector. It's almost like a choose-your-fighter scenario, sustainability or tech advancement.
It's definitely a dilemma. And there's no easy answer. But I think it's important to remember that sustainability and technological progress, they don't have to be mutually exclusive. There are ways to pursue both goals simultaneously.
Like what? What are some potential solutions or alternative approaches that could address both the concerns about energy consumption and the need for data center infrastructure?
Well, for one, there's a growing emphasis on developing more energy-efficient data centers. Companies are investing in technologies that reduce energy consumption and minimize environmental impact.
So instead of just saying no to new data centers, the focus could be on building them smarter and more sustainably.
Exactly. And then there's the possibility of exploring alternative energy sources. Could data centers be powered by renewable energy? Could they be designed to contribute to the energy grid rather than just drawing from it?
That's fascinating. It's almost like turning a potential problem into a potential solution. Instead of being energy hogs, data centers could become part of a more sustainable energy ecosystem.
That's the idea. And it's something that's being explored in various parts of the world. Another potential solution is to encourage greater adoption of colocation facilities. Remember, these facilities allow multiple companies to share data center space, which can lead to greater efficiency and reduced energy consumption overall.
It's like the sharing economy applied to data centers.
Exactly. And as we mentioned earlier, colocation facilities are often where MSPs operate, which could help address the skills gap as well.
So it's almost like a two birds, one stone scenario. You address the need for data center infrastructure, while also promoting sustainability and fostering collaboration within the tech sector.
It's a compelling idea, and it's something that I think deserves serious consideration as Ireland navigates this complex issue.
So while the moratorium presents some challenges, it also seems to be driving innovation and prompting a rethinking of how data centers are designed and operated.
Absolutely. It's forcing the industry to confront the sustainability question head on and to come up with a creative solution.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the Digital Realty and HP report. Let's shift gears a bit and take a look at the Irish Trends Report 2024. What insights does this report offer?
Well, this report, while perhaps not as granular as the Digital Realty and HPE report, it reinforces many of the same themes we've already discussed. It also highlights some interesting trends that are shaping the Irish IT landscape.
Such as? What are some of the key takeaways from the Irish Trends Report that stood out to you?
Well, one thing that jumped out at me was the emphasis on data security. This report really hammers home the point that cybersecurity is no longer just an IT issue, it's a business imperative.
With all the high-profile data breaches we've seen in recent years, it's hard to argue with that.
Exactly. And this report underscores the need for a proactive, multi-layered approach to security. It's not enough to just have the latest firewalls and antivirus software. You need to have robust security protocols, employee training programs, and a culture of security awareness throughout the organization.
It's about creating a security-conscious mindset, making sure that everyone from the CEO to the intern understands their role in protecting sensitive information.
Absolutely. The report also emphasizes the importance of data backup and recovery. It highlights the need for companies to have a comprehensive disaster recovery plan in place so they can quickly and effectively respond to any data loss incidents.
That's a crucial point. Especially with the increasing sophistication of ransomware attacks and other cyber threats, you need to be prepared for the worst-case scenario.
Exactly. And the report highlights that companies are making progress in this area. The number of organizations that are confident in their ability to recover from a data loss incident has increased significantly since 2022.
That's encouraging. It sounds like Irish companies are taking data security seriously and making the necessary investments to protect themselves. What other trends does the Irish Trends report highlight?
Cloud computing continues to be a major driver of change in the Irish IT landscape. The report notes that more and more businesses are migrating their operations to the cloud, seeking greater flexibility, scalability, and cost-effectiveness.
That's in line with what we're seeing globally, right? Cloud adoption is on the rise everywhere.
It is. And the report suggests that this trend will only accelerate in the coming years, driven by factors such as the increasing availability of high-speed internet access and the growing sophistication of cloud-based solutions.
It's interesting how both reports, despite coming from different sources and taking slightly different approaches, ultimately paint a similar picture of the Irish IT landscape. They both highlight the same key challenges: the data explosion, the skills gap, the need for robust cybersecurity, and the complexities of cloud adoption.
That's a really insightful observation, and it speaks to the fact that these are not just isolated issues. They're part of a larger global trend that's shaping the future of the IT industry.
So what does all this mean for our listener? For you? How can you apply these insights to your own work or business, regardless of whether you're directly involved in Ireland's IT sector or not?
Well, I think there are several valuable takeaways here. First, it's clear that data is becoming increasingly important in every aspect of business. Whether you're a small startup or a multinational corporation, you need to have a solid data strategy in place.
And that includes not just how you store and manage your data, but also how you use it to gain insights and make better decisions.
Exactly. Second, the skills gap is a real and growing challenge. Companies need to be proactive in developing and attracting talent. This includes investing in training and development programs, creating a positive work environment, and offering competitive salaries and benefits.
And it's not just about technical skills anymore, right? Soft skills like communication, problem solving, and critical thinking are becoming increasingly important in the IT sector.
Absolutely. Third, cybersecurity is no longer an optional extra. It's a must-have. Companies need to invest in robust security measures and create a culture of security awareness throughout the organization.
And that includes having a solid disaster recovery plan in place so you can quickly and effectively respond to any data loss incidents.
Precisely. Finally, cloud computing is here to stay. Companies that embrace the cloud will be better positioned to compete in the rapidly evolving digital economy.
So whether you're based in Ireland or anywhere else in the world, these trends are shaping the future of IT. And there's something you need to be aware of.
It's all about staying ahead of the curve and adapting to the changing landscape.
Okay, before we wrap things up, let's circle back to that moratorium on data center construction. It's obviously a major factor in Ireland's IT landscape. What are your final thoughts on this issue? Do you think the moratorium is ultimately going to help or hurt Ireland's tech ambitions?
It's a tough question. The moratorium, while well-intentioned, does create some uncertainty, and uncertainty is never good for business.
It can make companies hesitant to invest and can slow down innovation.
Exactly. But the moratorium also presents an opportunity for Ireland to reevaluate its approach to data center development and to come up with more sustainable and innovative solutions.
It's a chance to show the world that you can have both technological progress and environmental responsibility.
Precisely. And I think that's a message that will resonate with both investors and consumers alike. Ultimately, the success of Ireland's IT sector will depend on its ability to strike that balance, to embrace innovation, while also addressing the legitimate concerns about energy consumption and sustainability.
It's about finding that sweet spot where technology and sustainability can coexist and thrive together.
Exactly. It's a challenge, but it's also an incredible opportunity.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Ireland's IT landscape. We've covered a lot of ground, from the data explosion and the skills gap to the rise of hybrid IT and the complexities of that data center moratorium.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, exploring the challenges and opportunities that are shaping Ireland's digital future.
Absolutely. And as we wrap things up, I'm curious to hear your overall assessment. Is Ireland on track to achieve its ambitions of becoming a global leader in digital innovation? Or are the hurdles they're facing just too high?
That's tough to say for sure. There's no doubt that Ireland has a lot going for it. They have a highly educated workforce, a strong track record of attracting foreign investment, and a government that's committed to supporting the tech sector.
And they've made some impressive strides in recent years, particularly in areas like cybersecurity and data backup and recovery.
Absolutely. But the challenge we've discussed, the skills gap, the data center moratorium, the reluctance to fully embrace the cloud, these are real issues, and they could hinder their progress.
So what's the key to unlocking Ireland's full digital potential then? What needs to happen for them to overcome these challenges and achieve their goals?
I think it really boils down to a few key things. First, they need to find a way to address the skills gap. And that's not just about training more people, it's about creating an environment that attracts and retains top talent.
So it's about making Ireland a place where the best and brightest minds in tech want to live and work.
Exactly. Second, they need to find a way to balance the need for data center infrastructure with the concerns about energy consumption and sustainability.
Could the solution lie in those innovative approaches we discussed earlier, like building more energy-efficient data centers or exploring alternative energy sources?
It's certainly a possibility, and it's something that I think Ireland is well positioned to lead the way on. They have a strong commitment to sustainability, and they have a track record of embracing innovation.
It's almost like a perfect storm for positive change. The need for data centers, the push for sustainability, the potential for innovation, it's all coming together in a way that could create something truly special.
I agree. And finally, I think Ireland needs to continue to foster a culture of collaboration and partnership within the tech sector.
We've talked about the role of MSPs, but it goes beyond that. It's about creating an ecosystem where businesses, government, and educational institutions are all working together to support innovation and growth.
Exactly. It's about creating a shared vision for the future and working together to make that vision a reality.
So the path forward for Ireland is not without its challenges, but it's also full of potential.
Absolutely. And I think the next few years will be crucial in determining whether Ireland can capitalize on that potential and solidify its position as a global leader in the digital economy.
It's a story that's still being written, and it's a story that I, for one, am eager to see unfold.
Me too. And I think it's a story that has implications for all of us, regardless of where we're located. The challenges and opportunities facing Ireland are in many ways a microcosm of what's happening in the tech sector globally.
We're all grappling with the same issues: the data explosion, the skills gap, the need for cybersecurity, the rise of the cloud.
And the solutions that emerge in Ireland could have a ripple effect across the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with this thought. What's happening in Ireland is not just about Ireland. It's about the future of technology, the future of business, and the future of our interconnected world.
And it's a future that we all have a role in shaping.
So stay informed, stay engaged, and stay curious. The future is waiting to be written. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into Ireland's IT landscape. We hope you found it insightful and thought-provoking. Until next time, keep exploring.